Hi everyone, it's Steph here from the Novelty Corner and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm actually going to be talking about an anthology, and I wasn't necessarily going to film this as a separate vlog. I was actually going to include it in my Christmas holiday romance themed vlog, but I realized that being an anthology, I probably want to talk about all of the stories, so it makes more sense to do this as an anthology vlog. And honestly, I needed an extra video for December, so hey, you get an extra video. So the anthology in question is the Amor Actually anthology, which I started reading in my try chapter video last month, but I didn't finish it then because I wanted to save it for December because it's holiday themed, and so that's what we're doing now. I've actually just finished reading the first story, which was Make the Yuletide Gay, which is a sapphic romance between two Latin FMCs, one of whom is a pop star who was originally from the Dominican Republic, and she is later in her career, I can't remember if she's in her late 30s or early 40s, and she has a realization that she is attracted to her manager Leela, and so it's the story of Vivi and Leela working that out over the holiday season. The really cool thing about this, because this is by Adriana Herrera, who always does really great things with her writing is always impeccable. At one point Vivi talks about being bi-curious, and Leela turns around and says, well, if you're feeling comfortable with what's going on now, even though maybe it's not been something that you've considered before, that's a label for people who are still trying to fit into heteronormative norms, right? And the whole point being, you know, if you are comfortable, then you don't have to label yourself in a particular way. You can just accept who you are and how over time your tastes change, especially since you come from a place where this would never have been a consideration, something that you could allow yourself to feel at any other point in time. So I really enjoyed that first story. I'm about to start the second one, which is Only Yours by Sabrina Soul, who is an author I've not read before, so I don't really know what this story is going to be about, but I will update you when I get to it. Only Yours by Sabrina Soul is a romance between the mayor of New York, and whose name is David, and Natalia, who is a woman who works for an organization that he has been partnering with, and they have kind of been dancing around their attraction to one another for a while. David is convinced by his bodyguard Roger to, you know, tell her how he feels about her, and he's kind of reluctant, and then her plane is delayed and lots of things happen just to stop them from being able to have a conversation, like in a comedy of errors kind of way. She leaves the party that they're at but leaves a gift for him, and when he reads the gift there's a letter there that basically says no, she's only his, and then he's racing through this hotel to try and find where she's gone before she leaves to go back to Los Angeles. And it's just very adorable and sweet, and there are some steamy times in an elevator, and that's kind of where the story leaves off. So the next one is called Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Priscilla Oliveras, who I have read before, so I'm excited to dive into that one. So Meet Me Under the Mistletoe by Priscilla Oliveras is a widower father who is raising his son and his relationship with the temporary sub music teacher at his son's school. And they come together when Hector's son is planning or has written a love song for the girl that he has a crush on. Like, mind you, he's 11, and he's planning on performing it at the school's talent show at the end of the year. And he's asked his music teacher for some private lessons to help prepare for that. And so that provides some scenarios for Hector and Christina to actually spend some time, get to know one another. It's complicated because she has been told in no uncertain terms is there to be any parent-teacher fraternization, but she is also still sticking around New York hoping to be called up as a musician, either as a long-term sub or in a permanent role for Broadway. That was very short and sweet. The next story is by Alexis Daria, who I also love Alexis Daria's writing as well. This one is called All I Want for Nochebuena, which I hope I'm pronouncing right because it's not something I have to say often. This one is about two adult film stars. Okie dokie, let's read it. So All I Want for Nochebuena is about two adult film stars, Honey and Julie, and they've never met before, but they've become friends on social media, and they are brought together because there is a character who we met in the very first story who's a Latina rapper who has a brand called Bad Kitty, and they're releasing a range of sex toys and products. And so Honey and Julie have been brought together to create some information and how-to videos using all of these products. So that's the tie-in through the story. It's also mentioned that there's another character, Sarita, who I believe is in the next story that I'm about to read by Mia Sosa. But anyway, it's just the two of them filming. They're on set for 3 days just before Christmas, and Honey is just working up the courage to invite Julie to stay for Nochebuena and to stay for the holiday season. And it's just very cute. Very steamy, but also very cute. So the next story is Santa's Eager Little Helper by Mia Sosa. And I have not read Mia Sosa since I read The Worst Best Man. That is a travesty, absolute travesty. All right, so Santa's Eager Little Helper by Mia Sosa is the romance between Sarita and Carlos, and they both work at Sarita's family's catering company. Carlos is the chef for the company, and Sarita's brother runs the company. He's the one who's built it up, and he's never really given her a formal position, despite the fact she has a business degree. She's very competent, she's very capable of taking any role within the company, essentially. And what we find out is that Sarita's brother has fired their communications manager, but has left behind a whole lot of mess, because she had organized for a promotional video event, but since she's been gone, no one's organized anything, and it's down to Sarita, who comes up with the idea of a live stream of making date night food for the holiday season, and she ropes Carlos into helping her, and she's also trying to convince her brother to give her the communications role. It's really funny because every time they think they've got a handle on this live, her brother throws another spanner in the works, like the fact that they have to wear fancy dress costumes, which are ridiculous Santa and elf costumes, hence the title of the story. It was a really fun little short, so I really enjoyed that one. There are 4 more stories. I think I'm going to take a break from reading some of those. I've got a couple of other bits and pieces I need to do this afternoon, but I'll be back to finish off the anthology for you guys a little bit later. All right, I am back with drying hair, but I've also read The Nochebuena Dating Dare by Diana Muñoz Stewart. And I can't remember if I've read anything by her before. Her name sounds very familiar, so she may have been in another anthology. But this one is the story of Anita, who is recently divorced. Her husband cheated on her, although they're trying to amicably co-parent at the moment. She's a librarian at the local school, and this is connected to the school play that was mentioned, or the talent show that was mentioned earlier in one of the other books. Her son is in 2nd grade, and he is part of the nativity play, which is being produced and put together by sort of the most famous alumni of the school, who happens to be a well-renowned playwright and Tony Award winning something or other. I don't know show business terms. They have a few moments flirting in the library. He unintentionally insults her and then has to make it up to her. And she is really hesitant about getting back into dating. She's not sure what her kids will think. You know, her kids are also still, you know, dealing with the divorce and things like that. So that complicates their relationship. But again, very sweet. I think this is one of my favorites so far. Next book is Love in Spanglish by Zoey Castille. I know I said that the last story was possibly my favorite. I think this one might be, actually. So this was Love in Spanglish by Zoey Castille, and I've mentally blanked on what Zoey Castille's other pen name is, because I know there's another one. But I love this. So, I mean, I know I've talked about this before. I don't think I did at the start of this video, but all of these stories are based around Love Actually, which, full confession, I've seen every part of Love Actually. I've never actually sat and watched the whole film from start to finish because I don't like the film. So, controversial opinion, I don't like Love Actually. But, you know, I know enough about this film in order to know which stories are from which part of the Love Actually story, the greater story. And so this is the one about the writer in the cabin, except we're gender flipping it so that our female character is a romance writer. She's on a deadline. She's just caught her boyfriend and her roommate cheating, and so she escapes to a B&B and gets snowed in with the architect, who is a caretaker of the property, and he doesn't speak a lot of English. He's originally from Chile, and his name is Angel. And so the two of them are in forced proximity. She realizes that he realizes that he's read her book, and it's super sweet. Oh my god, steamy but very, very sweet story between the two of them. And also a good story about, you know, an author just realizing that they need time, that the story that they're writing at the moment isn't the story that they want to tell, and that maybe that means that they need to start over. So I quite like that. The next story is To Us You Are Perfect, which is a co-written piece by Alexis, Daria and Adriana Herrera. The next story is To Us You're Perfect. This one was co-written by Alexis, Daria and Adriana Herrera. It is that scene with the poster board from Love Actually, except flipped, where it's the married couple doing the grand gesture because they are incomplete with their best friend. So it's a polyamorous story. Just like before when I said that I don't like Love Actually, I actually hate this scene. in the movie as well. It's one of the scenes that I cannot stand. I mean, the story itself was cute, so I'm not going to judge this story by that scene, although I couldn't read the poster board because I find that incredibly cringy. I think we're at the last story. It is The Great Holiday Escape. This one is also written by Zoey Castille, and it is about Gigi, who has been a character that's been mentioned the whole way through the story. All the characters are getting ready to go to her Nochebuena party. Finally, we're going to have Gigi's story. All right, and so we're done. The Great Holiday Escape was, as I said, about Gigi. So this was Zoey Castille's story, who is Zoraida Cordova. That's the name that I couldn't remember before. Gigi is a workaholic because she is the guardian of her younger sister who is about to start college, but their parents had passed away, and so she'd taken over guardianship, and she just is constantly working. And so all of her family and friends have basically banded together and booked her a holiday 2 days out from the holiday season, just so she can get away and she can relax. And there's lots of little things when she gets to the spa place that she's staying at in Florida, and it's things like, here's the bottle of wine, make sure you relax. Lots of reminders for all of that. And while she's there, she meets two strangers. So this is another poly story. Isaac is a former actor, and he and his partner Pedro are there, and they've always considered adding a third to their relationship, but never really found someone that they both connected to, and Gigi happens to be their person. So this one is super steamy and was a lot of fun. And the collection is really great. Like, I don't love Love Actually, but I quite like this collection, and I'm glad I decided to do this as a separate video. So yay, that's a win. Yeah, I guess that's it. It was really fun. I'm glad that I finally read it. There were so many really great stories inside this collection, so it's well worth picking up if you haven't done so already. Incidentally, this video is going up on Christmas Day my time, so I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that however you celebrate, if you celebrate, that you have a wonderful, wonderful time. In the comments, feel free to chat to me about this book or about anything that's similar. Otherwise, feel free to leave a seasonally appropriate emoji of your choice. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.